Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, I'm currently in an airport waiting for the flight home. Vacation is pretty much over. And we'll start out by talking about Nintendo DS Emulation on Android with Nudes. And Nudes just got a brand new update to allow Android scope storage. Nudes is 100% free, it's open source, and I'll drop a link to it in the description below. Feel free to check it out. Moving on, and we're talking about Nintendo, and it appears a new patent has shown up online for a possible Switch successor. I don't know how much of this is true in terms of what design they're actually going to use here, but it appears there may be 3 screens on this one, a clamshell and then one on the outside. It's a very interesting concept, and I'm unsure of whether or not any of this stuff is going to make it into the next Switch. At any rate, here I'll drop a link to it and leave it in the description below for you to check out. Next up here, we're talking about Wolfenstein 3D and Spear of Destiny, and it's been ported to the N64. I'm not joking with you here. It's available on GitHub. I'll drop a link to it in the description below. It's 100% open source. And for those who may be unaware, Wolfenstein 3D and Spear of Destiny were released back in 1992. Next up, we're talking about Nintendo 3DS emulation with Citra, and Citra got a couple of very interesting updates. So as of Citra Canary 2663, they've implemented an ARM64 shader JIT backend. It increases performance on games that use geometry shaders, such as some of the Monster Hunter games, and this is for ARM64 platforms, which include macOS and Android. And on top of that, Citra Canary 2665 implements ROMFS caching as synchronous reads. It reduces stutter when accessing ROMFS, which in turn can reduce stuttering in games that do this a lot, like the mainstream Pokemon games. Now, Citra Canary is the arguably more experimental version of Citra. To check this one out, head to citra-emu.org and click on Download. Then click on Manual Download, scroll down to where Canary is, and pick up the latest version for your platform of choice. Next up here, we're quickly talking about the Lenovo Legion Go. While this handheld has not officially released just yet, review units have been sent out and some people have received it. For example, Carrie here, who you may know as the Fox over on YouTube. I'll drop a link to his channel in the description below. And I do recommend checking it out. He's got a great channel. Anyways, here he says, since it's already public knowledge that the Lenovo Legion Go has a portrait-based screen, this sucks to see from a big manufacturer like Lenovo. There are numerous issues on why native portrait panels are a bad choice for Windows handhelds. I'll do a video on why soon. So if we scroll down in this tweet here, we can see a nice photo of the Lenovo Legion Go, and yes, it's initializing in portrait mode, which is super unfortunate. Now, to give a bit of a perspective as to why portrait mode is bad, Carrie even says here, 100% of all DirectX 8 and older PC games will be broken without patching them. Some new modern games will also break on portrait native screens, and that's just getting into it. VRR will also not work on this, and even more. However, before we get too far down the rabbit hole on this one, here's a Q&A from Lenovo from earlier on in this year, back in June. They say, I will repeat this again and again. There are no reviews of the final product. These are all pre-reviews of not a final product. These are engineering samples. They then go on to say, yes, I confirm that since the early samples, the default mode was portrait, but in the final product, it is landscape. So did the Fox receive an engineering sample? Or are they just changing the default view to landscape from a native portrait screen once everything is installed? But moving on, and next up we're talking about Discord. And if you use Discord on Linux, this is just a friendly heads up that it's now verified on Flathub, which is a very big deal. And speaking about big deals, next up we're talking about a Fisher-Price controller that's been modded to play on the Nintendo Switch. If you take a look here, that joystick is definitely not stock. The PCB inside of this is definitely not stock, but at the same time here, it is working and it is ridiculous and awesome. Interestingly enough though, it's not the first time that this has been attempted. And back in 2018, Gum Mods modded a toy fight stick into a real deal fight stick. Let me know your thoughts about these crazy controllers in the comments below. And last up here, we're talking about Castlevania AGA, which is Castlevania for the Amiga. There's a brand new Halloween demo available that adds 15 levels with 5 different worlds. They say here there's many new enemies such as the sprite-segmented mini-boss, scythe-throwing Reaper boss, skeletons able to get back up after being hit, and more. If you haven't heard about Castlevania AGA before, I'll drop a link to the itch.io in the description below. As far as I know here, it's 100% free. And they say it's a remake of the 1987 original, but with visuals inspired by Castlevania Chronicles. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. I am absolutely exhausted, so we're going to end this video here. I started the day packing up to come home from vacation and spent the entire day traveling, but I'm home now A-OK and 100% safe and sound. Anyways, we talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.